Wait a minute, I'm going to turn the camera around, turn the camera around, turn the camera around. There we go. And hello, 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 hello. Hello out there to all of you who are paying attention with me right now, who are probably going to come in or who's going to catch this later on. I thank you for your time and your indulgence with me, honey. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you who are tuning in or who are going to sit down and come on and watch this on whatever platform this is, whether you're going to take it on Facebook Live or on YouTube or Instagram or wherever I decide to post this. It's another glorious day. My tea sippers are darling, you know what time it is, honey, so I hope you get all of your crumpets together because, darlings, it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meach right here and right now. Welcome to another edition of... what are we calling these? Oh, it's funny. It's the Donut Factory Chronicles, honey. Or commentary, right? I keep saying chronicles, it's commentary. Donut Factory Commentaries, because why? I'm here making the donuts and things, and it's rather quiet, so I'm going to take advantage of this now. And do my thing. So if you guys want to come on up in here, that's wonderful and cool and things of that nature. So let me put down here in the comments if you want to know anything about me, please come on up in here. And wait a minute, where's my comments? Come on, hey babies, I see y'all. Where? Come on, now I'm trying to write, and the thing won't. There we go. To learn anything about me, please go to my website at www.dishingtea.com. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. It is now after 12 o'clock, so it is officially December 26th. So I'm going to say Habaragani, and the response will be Umoja. So happy Kwanzaa. This is the first day of Kwanzaa, and y'all know every year I put my Kwanzaa stuff up on my Facebook wall, so make sure you follow it. For those of you who don't understand the principles of Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa happens to be the holiday that I would like to choose to start to celebrate more often because it has nothing to do with all this materialistic stuff. It's really about understanding the principles of what we need to engage ourselves as a family, as a community, as an organization as a whole, so that we can propel ourselves forward into the new year. So this is principle number 1, Umoja, which means unity. Okay, and of course that stands alone, honey. Unity. We have to come together. We have to unite. We have to build ourselves so that we understand who we are. And one of the things I'm going to add this year, I'm going to say, first off, let's start with understanding unity within our homes, so that everybody's on one accord. That's the whole thing. Be on one accord. So if your house is on one accord, and your neighbor house is on one accord, you may not agree right now, but as long as you are on one accord, then as we move forward, we're able to then create the community so where, we can see the differences and then learn how to pull our resources together so that we can thrive and to become a unified front. You know what I'm saying? That there is wonderful. So you guys, a lot of y'all are coming up in here. I haven't seen many of you in quite some time. So thank you. How was you guys' Christmases and things, honey? Were you guys the good Santa, or was Santa good to you, honey? Y'all can put that down there in the comments. I'm going to read those in a second. I'm going to say hi to everybody now. I'm going to have to do this again as you guys come up in here. So I see Ricky and Anthony is here. Candace is here. Robert, I've not heard from you in quite some time. How are things with you there in Detroit and things? And how is BBC doing? Your Billionaires Boys Club down there. We have not talked in quite some time. And things of that nature. I'll be coming home soon. I'm not going to commit myself to a date just yet, but I am coming home soon. Lupaka, hey, hello Hawaii. Come on up in here and let me know what's going on. Now listen, I want to talk with you guys about a couple of things that has been plaguing me. And one thing just came across my desk as I was going through my Facebook feed today. And it's the whole HIV epidemic and carrying on. And they're saying that Atlanta, as of this past Thursday, Atlanta has now been rated to be like they're trying to compare Atlanta to a third world country as far as its new HIV infections and carrying on since 2016. Now, I'm going to get on that in a minute because I'm starting to believe that even though those numbers are alarming and we need to pay attention to that, I don't want that to become so much as hype. Because one of the things that folks have to realize is that Atlanta has become an explosion as far as an influx of new residents. We got a lot of people transferring down here and becoming transplants to the Atlanta area. And because of that, a lot of these people have never been tested or either were tested and didn't want to believe the results or whatever and went to go get retested. And so now these numbers here in Atlanta are skyrocketing, okay? So I want us to consider that as well. This is not to make an excuse of anything, but we need to consider that possibility or that particular piece as well, so that we understand exactly what's tea. You know what I'm saying? So that, because see, when you hear this stuff and it becomes these staggering numbers and carrying on, all of a sudden, you know, we're saying, oh my God, what's going on with Atlanta? And you know, it becomes, oh, well, you know, they this and they that and carrying on. And it's cute. And a lot of it can be true, you know, and it can, you know, we can fester those particular ills, we can fester those rationales or whatever, but we have to look at the whole picture as well, okay? And oftentimes I think that in addition to not looking at that, I think also that the numbers that they give, child, you know, we have to look at how this is breaking down. They didn't necessarily give us the age range. At least I didn't see that in this particular study. But what the age ranges are in carrying on, so we can understand where the messages are, what's going on as far as the prevention message is concerned. And now one of the things that they're saying about that is a lot of the states who did not participate in the affordable health care or expanded their Medicaid or anything like that, that a lot of these numbers are high in those areas because of healthcare issues. Nobody, you know, folks have the lack of healthcare resources. A lot of this, you know, I'm still not sold on the PrEP yet. I'm not sold on it. It's something about it, child. I'm telling y'all, something about it is just not gelling with me. Okay? Something is just not gelling with me. I can't put my finger on it. I know what it says it's supposed to do with this, that, and the other, but something about it does not gel with me. I get like a 98%, but that little 2% fucks with me. And it fucks with me enough to where I don't want to fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Until we get more facts about it, until we get more information about it. Because right now, they're so busy trying to push this PrEP on everybody. Oh, you need to get on PrEP. Oh, you need to get on PrEP. Only we doing it for free, honey. We getting you on PrEP for free. And something about that it just don't sound right to me. And I'm going to tell you what it feels like. It feels like, if y'all watch Miss Evers' Boys, when they talk about the Tuskegee experiment, when they were sitting up there experimenting on black folks, and they absolutely gave them the syphilis virus and watched them go through and see what the disease does and did not treat them folks. That's what this feels like to me. It feels like, and I'm not saying don't, if you own it or whatever, hey, what if you found comfort with it, by all means, do what's best for you. For me, it has not gelled with me just yet, so I'm there. I'm just stuck there. Okay, it's too good to be true. Okay, for me, and something about that just ain't gelling just yet. It ain't. I can't put my finger on it. So that being said, a lot of this with the HIV and information and stuff, we have got to do better, because here's the other side of that particular story, is that now that we do have the PrEP and everything, a lot of folks have gotten really rambunctious with their sexual appetite. A lot of folks are because of what the medicines are doing now, and because when you become undetectable with your status, as long as, and now here's the kick, as long as you are taking your medicines and you're staying on your regimen and carrying on, the likelihood of transmitting the virus in an undetectable state, it's very low. They're saying that you can't transmit it, but I'm going to say that it's a very low possibility for you to transmit the virus if you're undetectable and you are following your regimen. Because see, that's the whole kick. A lot of folks are saying they're undetectable and feel as though they can stop taking their meds or whatever. And see, that there is not the ticket. You have to maintain your regimen. So with that being said, a lot of what's going on here, is where that is. And also, I want to know if these numbers that the CDC are talking about, they say that they're newly diagnosed cases. But see, I want to know if these are newly diagnosed cases up under these new guidelines, because, there's a such thing as reinfection, because they were doing the whole thing with men who have sex with men, MSMs, and there was a thing where if you're positive and you have sex with someone who's positive, you guys can reinfect one another, and that's how a new strand of the HIV virus is created. Because if you guys reinfect one another, then what happens is the medicines that you're on and the medicine that your sex partner was on, the new strand would become immune to that particular regimen. And so this strand, the whatever medicines you were on, would not fight this particular strand. So it becomes a whole new thing. Okay, so these whole new, I'm going to take them at their face value and say that they're talking about brand new cases. However, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I don't want this to become propaganda. So are you talking about newly diagnosed cases, period? Or are you talking about new cases and then you guys put them in these brand new categories or whatever? See, that's where my mind is. And I get so tired every time I do these lives, my eyes start itching and carrying on. It look like I'm digging for gold in my eyes. But no, I think what it is, I have to bring my eye drops, my saline, and I keep forgetting to bring it. But, okay. So now, that's the one thing that just came to me, but I want to get into the meat of this thing, and I want you guys to hear me well. And I was trying to wait. I started to bring this a little earlier when I came across it, but I wanted to wait just a little minute and get some momentum with this. But we need to talk about this, and we need to really, 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 really dunk our crumpets in this very carefully, because there is a new movement that is being lumped on to the LGBT movement that we need to pay attention to. And we as African-American LGBT children, or people of color, period, people of color who are LGBT plus, and here's the thing, and I'm gonna stop putting on the LGBT, the Q, the I, the A, and all of those bullshit. And the reason why I'm going to stop is because we have become the dumping center. Because everybody wants to be included in something. Everybody wants to, and we just sit up there and open up the doors to everybody. And, oh, we so this and we're so diverse and this, that, and the other. And, oh, we want to accept. But yet, we still have our own internal challenges that we're dealing with. We don't accept each other still. And y'all heard me say this before, masculine don't accept feminine. The gays don't accept the lesbians. The studs don't like the lipsticks. And we got so many divides that goes on. Okay, the gays don't. The trans children don't get no love from the bi child. The B of the LGBT honey has no voice and carrying on. So it's very ironic that we talk about. We celebrate diversity, yet we have so much infighting, it's ridiculous. But in me saying all that, catch this. There is a new movement. Well, it's not new, but what is happening is that it's gaining momentum. And it's gaining momentum because the children are trying to add a new letter to our alphabet soup. And the letter that they want to add is P. And what does P stand for? Pedophilia. Yes, you heard me. They want to add P to the LGBTQIA regimen. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say this like this because this is how it hit me. Although when I read the comments and stuff, I realized that he's just advocating for this not to be a thing. But he's coming from a straight man's point of view. I was on my Twitter feed, and y'all forgive me, I'm trying not to be all up in my nose and carrying on while I'm on in the camera. But I was on my Twitter feed, and Judge Joe Brown had placed this tweet up, right? And he stated that the LGBT community is pushing an agenda that says that they want to accept this P and accept pedophiles as part of their whole thing. And I was like, well, excuse me? I clutched my pearls, child. I was absolutely mortified at that statement because I'm like, who in the fuck? Nobody is sitting up here trying to say that we are advocating for them to be a part of this. The pedophile movement, honey, what they are doing, they are wishing to be cited in all of the books and in all of the annals and carrying on. They want to go down as a legitimate sexual orientation. Okay? They are saying that they are born this way. They are saying that this is something they cannot control. So basically, they have taken the same arguments that the LGBT community have been saying about our sexuality, and carried on. They have usurped that or got on those coattails, and they are bagging their claim to be theirs. Okay? And I have a problem with that. I have a real serious problem with that. Because pedophiles are people. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm going to give y'all a real definition. Let me look this up. I'm going to look this up because we are really going to really get into this because just the idea of it is fucking ridiculous. Okay. I want to. Let me go to Psychology Today. Here we go. This is a good one. Okay, Psychology Today says pedophilia. Pedophilia is defined as an ongoing sexual attraction to pre-pubertal children. Catch that. Pre-pubertal children. Now, this is from Psychology Today. Definition. Pedophilia is considered a paraphilia, a condition in which a person's sexual arousal and gratification depend on fantasizing about and engaging in sexual behavior that is atypical and extreme. Pedophilia is defined as the fantasy or act of sexual activity with children who are generally aged 13 years or younger. Pedophiles are usually men and can be attracted to either or both sexes, that is. How well they relate to adults of the opposite sex varies. Pedophilic disorder can be diagnosed in people who are willing to disclose this paraphilia, as well as in people who deny any sexual attraction to children, despite objective evidence of pedophilia. For the condition to be diagnosed, an individual must either act on their sexual urges or experience significant distress as a result of their urges or fantasies. Without these two criteria, a person may have a pedophilic sexual orientation, but not a pedophilic disorder. Okay. Now, okay, Wait a minute. Let me get this last sentence. I was going to stop there. It says the prevalence of pedophilic disorder is unknown, but the highest possible prevalence in the male population is approximately 3 to 5%. The prevalence in the female population is thought to be a small fraction of the prevalence in men. Okay. An estimated 20% of American children have been sexually molested, making pedophilia a common paraphilia. Offenders are usually family, friends, or relatives. Types of activities vary and may include just looking at a child or undressing and touching a child. However, acts often do involve oral sex and touching of genitals of the child or offender. Studies suggest that children who feel uncared for or lonely may be at higher risk for sexual abuse. Okay. Now, okay. The whole idea of this seems to stem from the children who basically they want to advocate for this to be a complete and utter sexual orientation. Okay, and why I have a problem with this is because we as gay folk, particularly gay men, and I'm going here for gay men because we've always been accused of trying to recruit kids. We've always been accused of going after children. We've always been accused of trying to turn these kids out and bring about some kind of agenda and shit and carry it on. And I have a major problem with that because now for the idea that you want to, and there's some folks out there who are saying that we need to accept this. There's some folks who feel as though we as a gay community need to stand behind that and let that become a part of the definition of how the outside world sees us, when they've already labeled us that. And we have found out over the years that many times pedophiles have mostly been heterosexual men who just, want to have control issues over children and carrying on. I have a major problem with this because where is the age of consent here? Now, y'all finna blow your mind, child. Because when I found this out, honey, I gagged. Okay, but I want to quote the sourcing. I want to quote the sourcing so that you can get this. Yeah, what's the sexual age of consent? Okay. Now catch this. Catch it. And this is coming from the legalmatch.com library. Okay? Catch it. It says, federal law makes it criminal to engage in a sexual act with another person who is between the ages of 12 and 16 if they are at least 4 years younger than you. Each state takes a different approach as the age of consent is ranged from 10 to 18. Did you hear what I said? 10 to 18 is what these children are saying. Each state is different, but the state age of sexual consent ranges from 10 to 18. Really? When does a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, or 12-year-old have been able to sit down and to honestly put that together in their heads that sexual activity, yes, this is what I want, Kids don't even know what they want for dinner. They don't know what the fuck to wear to school. They're so indecisive at that point because they're molding. And my guess is that oftentimes between those ages that the child starts, I know my niece started her cycle at 9. So you're trying to tell me that when the child is starting to have and go through body changes and start to become in that pubescent age, that you're going to say that they have consent? They have the legal consent to say, yes, I want to have sex with someone? Now, let me say this as a proviso, because I was one of those precarious children. At 14, 15, 16, I was one who knew I was sexually active at the time. And so I knew how to play little games to manipulate folks to having sex with me, particularly straight men at the time. I would sit down there because, I had just found out what it was to be gay and carried on, and I love to orally copulate men and things of that nature, and this was part of my jus, to get my sexual appetite together, and I'm learning what this is, and I was getting away with something because I talked somebody into letting me do this, and how I would keep my straight pornographic magazines out, and as long as they was looking at pussy, honey, it was fine, and I was able to, dirge my way in. So I was one of those precocious children. So we do have to look at this on an individual basis. But for the most part, we sit up here, and if we say that it's different from state to state, and you're saying here that, and this is the legalmatch.com, the law library article. This is where this is coming from. You're trying to tell me that 10 years old, it ranges from 10 years old for sexual consent. That's ridiculous. And see, here's something else. When I was reading the comments under Judge Joe Brown's tweet, someone has set up there and said, well, the Gay Rights Act of 1972 wanted them to change the age of consent. Okay? And they said all that to try to say that this is part of the agenda, where the gay folks have been wanting to do this for a long time. And so I went to go look that up, right? The Gay Rights Act of 1972. Let me pull it back up, because it's that's not what it is. It was a proposal. Gay Rights Act from 1972. Okay. 1972 and LGBT right. I don't want to take that from Wikipedia, because Wikipedia can be a little bit that way. Although they have some good information in there, sometimes it's not necessarily the T. Okay, here we go. This is from rslevinson.com. The 1972 Gay Rights Platform. This is what the platform was. Okay. Platform created at the National Coalition of Gay Organizations convention held in Chicago in 1972. And let me see, it was number 7 of the 8 points that they wanted to make on the state level. It's a total of 17. So they had 9 points that they wanted to make on the federal level, and they had 8 points that they wanted to make on the state level. And repeal of all laws governing the age of sexual consent. That was number 7 of this particular thing. And so now I was like, okay, it does not go into anything. It's just one of those. It's just a one-liner. So I'm like, okay, so what did they mean by that? What is it that they wanted to do with this particular repeal? So now it's becoming as I'm putting all this together, I'm like, well, hell, I know damn well that y'all wasn't saying that you want to have the right to sleep with someone who was 10 years old or whatever. So we wanted to look at this, correct? So now I really wish that I could find somebody who was there at that conference so that we could talk about this in full. But this here is starting to really get under my skin because we have now want to take what is considered to be a crime. Having sex with children is a crime, particularly those who are under the age, they're still in single digits. Okay? Y'all have heard some heinous, just despicable, unfathomable shit that folks have done to newborns. And when I heard it, I wanted to rip this motherfucker's dick off. I just really wanted to rip it off with my hands and let that motherfucker, just hang him upside down so he could bleed like a damn turkey. Okay, I wanted to rip his dick off because there was one guy, and was it in Detroit or was it somewhere, I forget, where he had sexually abused a newborn baby. He had vaginally penetrated that baby. You hear me? And you think that is something that we as an LGBT community said we want to do, we want to embrace? What the fuck? How? God help me. How does anybody in their right mind fathom that? That's something that we want to say that is supposed to be right and that we are embracing and that we supposed to say that's a sexual orientation. You are attracted to that. Bitch, really? Really? Children don't know how to ask for what they want and carry it on. They do not realize about sexualness and carrying on because the body is designed to respond to stimulus. Okay? That's what the body does. The body is designed to respond to stimulus. That's what we're made for. Okay? Now, if you sit down here and introduce a child to that, see, sex is not, it's not just a learned behavior, it becomes a necessity. Sex is a way that the body cleanses itself. Sex is the way that the body, it becomes inviting and enlightening. It releases endorphins. It's part of the system that the body goes through. It is natural. That's why if you're jacking off and carrying on, honey, that there it becomes natural. We were told a long time ago in church that it was a sin to jack off and this, that, and that. Sex is a natural progression with the body. Okay? Very natural. If you sit down here and introduce a child to those feelings, it awakens that. And if it awakens, then the body starts to yearn for it. Because now it says, okay, I know what this is, and now I have to have it in order to complete the process. Okay? That's why you got wet dreams. That's why men, if you don't wake up with your dick hard in the morning, honey, that's something that's wrong. That there, they're saying scientifically, honey, a man's erection in the morning, honey, is to let you know that everything is functioning right. Okay? And if it ain't hard in the morning, it's, sometimes during the day, if your dick just get hard for no reason or whatever, that's because the blood is flowing right. That's what, it's a sign to say that everything is everything. Okay? So this is what we do. This is what we go through. When you introduce that to a child, you destroy their innocence. You destroy what all that is because the pureness of it. Because you're introducing them into a world, honey, that they're not ready for. They're not mentally equipped. They're not equipped. Okay? Let me go to the comments because y'all coming up in here. And let me see. I didn't say hello to the children. Okay, Maurice came up in here. Diamante, hey baby, okay, hometown child right there. Kitty girl, hey Kitty, what's going on? Girl, what's happening? Diamante, you say hey from Detroit. People walking around here like Bird Box. I know, darling. They're walking around with blinders on and things, and just trying to let the outside entity. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to look to see what's going on and carrying on. Brother Blue Brooks is in the house. Howard has come up in here. Okay, you said that is so true. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, Cranley. Hey, Cran, what's going on? How would you say bad enough? They don't know this. Are you right? Are you crazy? No, I'm not crazy, honey. I'm telling you, Howard, this is what it is. Brother Blue, you say what? You say this is a big mistake because society already wants to look at gay men as pedophiles. Spelled wrong. and that would give them the ammunition to attack the gay community even more. Of course it would, child. Of course it would. How would you say, what, bad enough they don't accept us now? I know. Get the fuck out of here. Exactly. Melvin, hey, you done came up in here. Listen, regardless, how are you, darling? Listen, my condolences to your family with the passing of your father. Dada, hey, baby, you done came up in here. Tony done came up in here. And Lorenzo was up in here. What's going on, honey? Lonzo was here. And Kyrie is here. Okay. Kyrie say, hey, what's the topic? The topic is these folks who want to come up in here and they want us to accept pedophiles as a sexual orientation. And we got people believing that the LGBT community is pushing that agenda. And this is where we as people, we have to come up and we have to denounce this shit. We have to sit down here and get to getting with this. We got to call it out, and we have to call it what it is. Pedophilia is a crime. Okay? It's a crime. Now, I gave y'all the definition that Psychology Today say. Psychology Today say that pedophiles or pedophilia are usually children who have a sexual attraction to pre-pubertal children. So that is from 13 and under. Why does a grown man need to, or a grown woman, need to have sex with someone under the age of 13? Okay? And with 13 period, because see, again, the body is not developed, the mindset is not developed, and carried on. One of the things about sexual tension is the release. Kids, they're not ready to shoot a load or whatever. Their body's not ready for that. They have no concept of what that is. So why are we sitting up here making this? Why? Okay? I'm not understanding what's going on. I'm not understanding how we have allowed this to become what it is. Now, let me say this, because it may sound like I'm going to contradict myself, but we have to look at this for what it is. Because I've always said that we don't know what sexuality is because there's so many lines on the spectrum. On one end, there's heteroattractional and heteronormative. On the opposite end of that spectrum, there's homoattraction and homonormative. Right there smack in the middle is bi-attractional, the bi-children, those who like both. Everything in between, because there's a long thing that's in between each particular sector. And this is where the lines get blurry, because we want everything to be so black and white. And in this particular case, pedophiles want to come on board, and they need to, I don't believe it needs to be anything outside of a crime, because I'm trying to understand how can you say you're born this way when, number one, what's the evidence of it? See, they even said that in the article, the evidence of it is not there. So how is it that you become a pedophile or say this is a sexual orientation and shit. See, it becomes and what I'm pausing for is because one of the things I do say is you can't help who you are attracted to. Attraction is attraction because it's innate, okay? But you can't tell me that a person is attracted to a child and want to, and in a way that they want to fantasize about the child, okay? Because see, what happens when the child becomes an adult? Okay. Do they get their kicks from the child and then move on? Are we becoming the children of the corn? Remember the movie where the whole town was all about the kids? As soon as the kids reached a certain age or whatever, the other kids took them out because they considered them to be an adult at that point. Is this what this is going to turn into? Then we have to look at it from this particular standpoint. We as an African American community, honey, we have been dealing with pedophiles in the family and carrying on for a long time. Y'all remember Uncle So-and-so or that was always in the back room and things that we had locked away because they had mental issues or whatever that was always bothering the kids, or you knew that you don't go sit on so-and-so's lap, and carry on, and you don't be in the house. We had them people. Everybody had somebody like that in the family, one or two of them. So now what does this do? What conversation does this need to be in order to filter this out so that we can sit down here and get to the root of this? Because as an LGBT community, I'll be damned if I sit down here and have to subject everything else that I deal with, being a gay man in this world, being a black gay man in this world. We dealing with so much as it is. We already dealing with the fact that our heteroattractional counterparts want to say that we're the cause of black men not being real men, and we're the cause of the feminization of black men, and we black men have got too soft because of that gay shit. Now you want to put on us that we want damn kids. I ain't having it. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. So now the question becomes, how do we rally against this? What do we need to do as a people to rally? And I'm going to break this down into color lines because, see, I have not heard of any African American or person of color sit up here and say that this needs to be accepted, or say, oh, we need to look at this and to come to grips with this. Nobody has said that. Okay, not black folks, not colored folks. I've not heard that. However, we do have our Caucasian children, honey, our Caucasian counterparts, our Anglo-Saxon counterparts. Okay, our Irish sisters and brothers that carried on. Honey, y'all need to talk to me. Y'all need to sit down here and tell me what it is that you say we need to look at, or what is it that we don't get. Because there's a video, somebody put a video up where they were at this conference, and there's two women who's saying that we need to look at this and accept them because they're human and they're people, and to not accept them, it's going to damage them psychologically and this, that, and that. And my thing is, they already damaged psychologically. But see, now, here's where it gets funky. Because as I'm saying all of that, I remember when straight folks were saying that about gay folks. See, when they was telling us that, oh, y'all sick in the head, y'all wasn't born like that, don't nobody come born like that, and this, that, and the other. So then it becomes, okay, what the hell is this? How do we then, what's the fight in this? What is the fight? Okay? Because right now, the biggest thing is this whole consent thing. Kids do not consent to sex like that. Not like that. See, we teach our babies, honey, when you put the bathing suit on, anything that your bathing suit covers, that's a no-no area. You do not allow anybody to touch you in that area. That's no-no. So if we teach our babies that, okay, and you always come to us and somebody hit you or touch you in your no-no areas, that's off limits. That's a no. Okay? Then we had to change it when they started to become pubescent, because now their hormones are kicking in and they're starting to understand sex. And this time now, when the girl starts to go through her cycle, when the boy nuts for the first time. Okay? And things of that nature. Your body going through its changes because it's growing up. Okay? What is this conversation? What do we need to do step by step? Y'all talk to me now. Come on, because see, I'm baffled because I don't know where to begin. Because see, I can come to this from an emotional standpoint and be like, y'all fucked up in the head. That's some fucked up bullshit. At the same time, I don't want to become the oppressor. Ain't that a bitch? Okay, look at the shit that's coming at our way, and then we say, okay, we don't want to become the oppressor because we know what it is to be oppressed and what it is to not be believed and this, that, all of that. So what are we saying? Okay? What are we saying? Because see, if I take that particular approach, then that means that the children who are sitting up there saying we need to accept them because they're human beings and carrying on, and we need to accept this as a legitimate sexual orientation, then that means that they have merit behind that they have a merit behind their argument, and I don't want to give them that. Everything in me, I can't. I cannot. I cannot. And the other thing is that we have got to stop letting everybody else add their goddamn letter on to us. Because see, here's the thing. One of the things about pedophiles is that most of them are heteroattractional. So if we are an LGBT organization that says that most of our shit is same gender loving, why are we going to accept this nonsense from them? Okay, why? Okay, we've added the Q to be questioning and queer, but some of them children, honey, are still straight. So, but we used to have the SOFAs, what was it? Significant others, family, and friends and allies. That was the SOFA. That's what that was supposed to stand for. We got PFLAG, parents and friends of gays and lesbians. Okay, so here we are. What does this conversation become? Because why is it that, again, I'm going back to my initial argument, we are supposed to be the community of diversity. We say celebrate diversity, but yet we got so much infighting going on to where it's more so political. You know, to say diversity, honey, it's just a stunt to where we could get some federal money or whatever, because shit, we don't celebrate the diversity within us. But then to sit up there and say that for those who are advocating to add pedophile to our letters, to add pedophile to us, you want to actually have that as a moniker on us. What? You actually want to have that as something to where folks, they already want to say that we coming after their kids. And you want someone who is a bona fide pedophile to say, this is what we're doing. That we say, yes, we agree to this. Yes, we stand by them. You say that this is what the hell we want. I can't. I can't get with that. No way, shape, style, form, or fashion. And so anybody who's out there, I need for you, come on, put it down here in the comments. Hey, I even bring you in. If you want to discuss this with me, hit the invite. I'll bring you in. So, and I ain't gonna read you and carry on. I just want to sit down here and get some clarity, because what we have to do, we need to know where the fuck we need to fight this thing at. Because our heteroattractional folks, like I said, those who are our allies are our allies. But the adversaries, those who don't like us, don't want us to be on the face of the planet and carry it on, this is giving them another damn tool to sit down there and say, see, I told you them motherfuckers wasn't right. I told y'all they ain't no good. They gonna burn in hell. Satan all on them. See, we got all that to contend with. We got all of that to contend with. Okay. We let the I come up in here because we say the intersex person is a part of the LGBT movement. How can they when a lot of intersex children are heteroattractional? A lot of the intersex children, honey, because they were born with both genitalia, male and female genitalia, they live their lives according to how they develop. Most of them are living heteroattractional lives. So why do we allow that to be added onto our lettering? Okay, and they don't necessarily, we don't see them at the pride marches. How about that? We done added all these children into these letters on and carried on, but we don't have nobody, they don't have a voice in the pride march or whatever. We barely got transgender coming out. We barely got the bi coming out at the pride marches and carried on. But yet, we want to keep adding letters to this damn alphabet soup. And now, pedophiles want to be added unto us. To us. Really? Really? I can't. I won't. Okay, I just won't. Somebody got to come up. Okay. Let me see. I see some of y'all that came up in here. Lorenzo, hey, good evening to you too, baby. Ed, you done came up in here. Kitty done came up in here. Chandra, hey, Latrobe, came up in here watching. Okay. So what say you people? Because see, I'm at a standstill right now. I'm at a loss. I'm at a standstill because I don't know. Because see, here's the thing. Let's look at this from this particular standpoint. Because when our grandparents were young, our grandparents and our great-grandparents are carried on. See, they got married off at 12, 13, 14 because they were able to have children. So there was no. It wasn't pedophile back then. That there was the law of the land. So, interesting, isn't it? So what are we doing? Okay. Are we saying that this is what this is? Are we giving, see, as we start to get into it, see, we can start getting into now where we're peeling back a layer from an onion. Because it was nothing for a 30-something-year-old man to sit down there and marry a 12, 13, 14-year-old girl. Y'all watch The Color Purple? Okay, that was real. That was practically my grandmother. My grandmother, I think she was 14. I think that's what they said. She was 14 or 15 or something when my grandfather took her hand in marriage and things, and he was 21, 22 or something like that. Yeah, I think that's what that was. And she bore him 12 children. Okay, would have been 14, but she lost the twins. Okay. So, at that point, there was a law of the land. And see, now here's another thing. Now, let's look at this. Because, see, a lot of that, too, was doing a lot of the slavery thing. Because, hell, we needed hands in the field. So, as soon as a girl was able to be on, have a period or whatever, hell, master went up in there and knocked her up so that he could get a new little baby. Another livestock or whatever. So whatever that is, okay. So so at one point in time, this was the law of the land. And you say what? You say, hey, Meach, my great grandfather married my great grandmother when she was 12 and he was 30. See, right there. And see, that's what I'm thinking. I think my grandfather. I know they said that there was a significant age difference between he and my grandmother, but I think that was them. Because I keep saying I know 21, but I know she was like 14. But I think he was more so 30 as well. In that particular due identity, I got to go back and look at that because I don't have my grandfather's obituary. And my grandmother, she was a Christmas baby, and I forgot how old she would have been right now. Let's see. She was younger than my maternal grandmother. And grandma was born at 18. So my father's mother, I think she was born like in 1925 or something. I think so. I got to look at that. But in any event, That's what, that's what we're looking at. So are these pedophiles trying to say that they are going back to a way of living? I can't. I just can't. I don't know. I'm so mind-boggled by this. I'm so mind-boggled. And we as a community need to get up on this, and we need to make it happen. We need to sit down here and let the kids know what's going on, honey, because we cannot allow, and we just cannot afford to have anything else come against us. I'm looking at these young babies, the young queens, honey. It doesn't seem as though they have a voice out there yet. And if they do, either I'm not connected to it, or it's so low I can't hear it. But what we need to do is let them have their fight. This is their fight now. I mean, I'm still on the battlefield, yeah, because I'm still alive. But a lot of the stuff now that the kids, need to fight for, honey, we need to see what they're fighting for. Because most of us, honey, we don't, hell, I don't walk as fast as I used to, honey. Where I used to do a little quick 5-step, honey, now I'm doing 3.5 step. Okay. But nonetheless, we need to equip these babies so that they know what the hell is going on. But see, we living in a world now to where the new kids are coming up in an area, in an era where we got new terms for shit. Excuse me. We got new terms and things. We got new sexuality. Because now folks want to be polyamorous and things. And let me go here, because I know my boy Hodge and I got into this little debate about this, because he was saying, well, that's what pansexualism is. And folks who claim to be pansexual. Well, that's what that means. That means pedophile. I said, no, it doesn't. It's an umbrella term. It can mean that, but that's not what that means. And so he wanted to argue me down and was like, well, no. Because, that's a Greek culture thing and this, that, and that, blah, blah, blah. I said, yes, I understand that. At the same time, pansexualism means all. Yes, it does mean all. Okay, wait a minute, hold on. Because I done got into this thing of making sure I'm giving y'all definitions. So let me make sure I give y'all a proper definition. Okay? So that we know what we're talking about here. Okay? Come on. Yeah, but I'm telling y'all, this age of consent thing has just got me out of the world. Okay, I'm just out. I'm outdone. Okay, I'm completely outdone. Because for them to sit up there and say here in the United States of America that the age of consent, according to the legalmatch.com law library article on statutory rape, that you're saying that according to the law, there are some states that say the age of sexual consent can be as low as 10 years old. Ridiculous. Okay? Pansexuality, oh wait a minute, this, hold on. This is Wikipedia, and I could take it from Wikipedia. I'm just trying to get, some better sourcing. Okay. Let me go to dictionary.com. Okay. Dictionary.com. Okay. What does pansexual mean? Huh. Okay, now this is saying dictionary.com, but the way how this is reading, this is somebody that put words into this thing. I don't like this, but okay. It says some people think pansexual is some trendy new identity invented on Tumblr, but it's actually been around since the 1970s. A person who is pansexual can be attracted to people of any gender, regardless of their into any gender or regardless of their gender. Some pansexual people may say that when it comes to attraction, they don't see gender or fit or find it irrelevant. That's what distinguishes pansexuality from omnisexuality or bisexuality. Okay, now see, here we go. See, like I said, they making shit up. What the fuck is an omnisexual? Okay? An omnisexual individual is someone who is attracted to persons of all genders and orientations. Okay? Now, let me break that down, because, see, when I first researched that, they were saying that an omnisexual person is someone who is attracted to all genders and all sexual orientations and all gender expressions. So that means that is someone who, okay, as a gay man, I am attracted to gay men. Okay? I can be physically attracted to a trans man by the look, but I have come to discover, and I've not had a trans man experience yet. I don't know if I ever will, because I am attracted to a penis. So if a man does not have a penis, that then would be a psychological fuck for me. But an omnisexual is someone who is attracted to all of that. They don't care if you say you're a trans man. Okay, fine. If I find you sexually attractive, I will have sex with you. Okay, a pansexual is someone who is attracted to all genders, but or a specific gender variation. Okay. So and it's becoming confusing, because I'm gonna tell y'all something. I find that there's a such thing as a demisexual. Yeah, I said a demisexual. What the fuck is a demisexual? Well, a demisexual is someone who does not have sex with someone unless they are emotionally attached, okay, to someone. There's an emotional connection or whatever. So that's what they say are demisexual people. And I say, okay, you know what? Now y'all making shit up. But at the same time, didn't I just say that the whole idea of sexuality, that continuum, there's things along that continuum, honey, that we have not explored or whatever. And so now, as it's starting to come into fruition, some of this shit just sound made up as hell. It just sound made up. But yet, folks who are believing this, this is where they are. And I said all that to say a lot of the young kids, this is, hell, they're in the world, but this is where this is. Okay, Ed, you say, what could it be, Meach, that the next generation has to find its own fight? Their own fight, just like we did. The language between the generations has changed drastically, and there is actually no communication between current and the upcoming. I'll give you that. I got to stand up because we got this damn bitch and child. This thing is not doing it. And I am wheezing like hell. It's because I done got congested. But yeah, I'll give you that, because we, as the older generation, we have not mentored the new kids, okay? As a whole, we have not. Now, individually, of course, I'm sure we have. But as a whole, we have not mentored those kids. And, damn, I'm congested as fuck. And because of that, we have basically allowed them to raise themselves, if you will, okay? And if they're raising themselves, child, then hell, they're going to have to find it on their own to find out what's doing what, And it's sad, but that's where we are. At the same time, what can we do to equip them? Because if this is something that's coming down the pipeline, honey, then we need to be on top of this. We need to sit down here and be like, And then, who knows? We got to find out what's going on with them, because, like I said, they're opening up the door to so much shit now, to where there's sexual activities, child, that I just don't believe that we have actually said have become a fetish. Because here's the thing. How is it that you want pedophilia to become a sexual orientation versus it being a fetish? Okay? Huh? How have we evolved to that? Okay? I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to get that. See what I'm saying? This here is so that way it has more questions than answers at the moment, You say, what, pansexual is fluid. You know what? That fluidity shit, okay, that's cute. We call it being a fucking freak. Okay, okay, hell, if you have a high sex drive like that, child, and you just out there and things, okay, excuse me, if that's what it is, then let's break it down to its basics. But why is it that we trying to define these particular things and give it these damn names, child, that really means nothing? Okay, you're trying to pretty it up for some particular reason. Okay, and you say what? They are being reared by social media. We equip them through social media. That's how we get into their worlds. Okay, yeah, that's true. However, we got to sit down here and make sure that the information is out there, though, because social media is what it is. But, a lot of us, who are the old fogies, we're not on everything, honey. We're not Snapchatting and all these little crazy ass little shits that they're doing. Hell, we just got Facebook down, and now Facebook is obsolete because everybody now is on Instagram, and carrying on. So it's down to the gram, and then now, of course, between Instagram and YouTube, and because everybody wanted to create their own content and carry it on, this is what we're dealing with. And you say, what? No, freaks have limited choices and restrictions on what they do. Now, well, the freaks who are in their right moral character, because you got some who are just out there. See, there's a difference between a freak and someone who is sexually responsible. See, you can have a high sex drive and have a healthy sexual appetite and have a healthy sex life. Oh, come on, I got to get off of this damn thing. You can have a healthy sex life, okay, and be just as fluid as, as transient or whatever. But most freaks, or quote-unquote freaks, are responsible, It's just like living a single life. Those who are single and they live in a single life and carry it on, they're not ready to settle down or whatever. They know what to do to take care of themselves, okay? However, bona fide freaks or whatever usually don't have them same limited choices or restrictions, child. And especially now that the bigger freak you are, the more of a political or social stance that you have now. Because remember, back in our day, a freak was an outsider, honey. If you, we used to call it nympho. Okay, if you had a high sex drive or whatever, you was just being a nympho or a hoe. Okay, but you wasn't a freak. Now, if you're not a freak, something wrong with you. But oftentimes, a lot of that, and you've heard me say this before, that oftentimes a lot of that deals around sexual addiction and things, and it comes into other areas that we have not looked into, or have not wanted to give credence to, or whatever. A lot of folks still don't believe that sexual addiction is real, but at the same time, that's where we are with that. So, we at this particular case now too. Yeah, I'm stumbling because I just do not believe that this whole pedophile movement was to be added. You want to add it to the LGBTQIA and put a P on that. And then in some instances, just like the Q is questioning and queer or whatever, the P, I've heard some people say P could be pansexual and pedophile. Hell no. Devonda came up in here. Hey, how you doing, honey? Okay. And as you say, example, guys say I'm a freak, but I don't suck dick or eat ass. No, that is not a freak. This is a waste of time and a lie. Okay, right. And you know what I'm going to tell you? See, in that example, Ed, most of the time when folks, that example that you gave when folks say they are a freak, only thing that means is that they want to have sex with more than one person. Okay? When they got limitations and carrying on like that, what they do and don't do or whatever, no. You just want to sit down there and have multiple sex partners about being, that's your freak. You want to have more than one sex partner at a time and carry it on. But oftentimes the term freak, honey, is just that, you know. Hell, we got it. You see it, and we got the music is saying that. Hell, Cardi B just told the children, honey, to suck the dick right, you got to bring it down here. Okay, that's what she just. Okay, right. So this is where we are, children, as a community, as a people, as someone who needs to sit down there and say, you know what, hold up. Because see, the fight becomes, do we need to jump on their fight for their equity? I don't think so, because if you're not a pedophile, that's something that you're not going to fight for, right? At the same time, what we do need to say is that what you're not going to do is lump yourself onto us. You're not going to sit down here and lump that bullshit onto the LGBT. Okay? Because the Q, the I, and the A done already added themselves onto that. Okay? However, yeah, yeah, that's why I can't even get it out. And you say, well, that's not going to happen. Because that pedophilia mess is not going to fly. It will die. Just someone thinking out loud. I hope you're right, because, but what is happening is it's gaining traction. Let me see. I won't play it here. I got to find the thing, because I'm telling you, on my YouTube, my Twitter feed, the children have posted up this conference, and these two white women, but they had access. I don't know if they're British or whatever. These two white women were sitting up there talking about how we need to accept it and things, and this is at some kind of psychological conference or something. And they actually was trying to rationalize it. And I was like, what? Too many of us were victims of pedophilia. Yes, I understand that this is why child, I'm at a loss. I'm really at a loss for words with this one. So I'm going to leave this up to y'all. I'm going to get off of here, because, you know, as I really need to do some more research on this. I remember when I first came across this, there's a guy, one of the spearheaders of this. Wait a minute. Let me look this up real quick, because pedophilia movement, because I forget where he's from. He's a white guy. And he looked creepy to me. I'm like, ugh. Okay. Oh, look at this. The pedophilia and the gay movement. Okay. What? Hold on. This is dated for July 12, 2018. A pedosex. Let's see. It says here, last month, Central Oregon Pride organizers were targeted by an insidious campaign that distributed fake posters claiming that NAMBLA was sponsoring the event along with the Human Dignity Coalition, an LGBTQ plus advocacy group in Bend, Oregon. Jamie Bowman, president of the organization, says several people sent me these photos asking if we were the real thing. Okay, all that, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay, this ain't what I thought this was, child. I'm trying to find the one child, honey. There's a white guy who is behind this whole little do-I-diddy thing, honey. What is this? Them versus a story behind the weird internet. I just pulled that one up. I something similar to that, Ed. Yeah, I just had that. Would you say they better be glad I was not there? I would have cussed their asses out at their own conference. I would have too. I would have too. What? Oh, child. I got to find it, honey. Okay. This is from LifeSiteNews.com. Pedophiles put themselves under the LGBT umbrella in rebranding efforts. How about that? This is data for July 10th, 2018. What? A pedophile group is trying to destigmatize pedophilia by calling themselves minor attracted persons. MAP. Minor attracted persons. Hold on, let me put that down here in the comments, child. They are calling themselves minor attracted. Ain't that nothing? Persons. Lord have mercy. So now when you hear that, that's the term that they're using for pedophile, child. I know. Okay. In essence, the MAP group is attempting to re-hitch its wagon to the gay community, which, for the sake of political and judicial expediency, distance themselves from the pedophile calls beginning a few decades ago. That's what it is. NAMBLA, North American Men and Boy Love Association. I knew. Okay, that's what NAMBLA is. The North American Man Boy Love Association. Now catch that, because see, NAMBLA, this is what fucked me up with NAMBLA, because of that whole particular moment. The name of it said that these were men who were targeting boys, okay, and carrying on. But this whole new organization, they said they done separated themselves from this particular group by calling themselves minor attracted persons. Huh? This is crazy. This here is absolutely crazy. It's crazy. This is the first time. I haven't read this, of course, because this is my first time pulling this up. But I can't. I can't. I really and truly can't. So people, I'm going to need you guys to. We've got to get on board with all of this. We got to get on board with all of it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this, but they got all these damn acronyms out. Okay. Okay, they got NOMAP and SOMAP. I don't even know what the hell that stands for. NOMAP and SOMAP. They said they coming up with all these other different names, so I don't know. What? Yeah. Okay. You see, it's becoming confusing, and I don't want to completely be so emotional about this without having some facts. And then, like I said, the question becomes, because I can sit down here and get emotional and fly off the handle and say no, and they can sit up there and say, oh, we were born this way and this and the other. And like I said, they have usurped our arguments are carried on. And I'm going to say this like this because I want us to understand something. Because if we are up in arms about them usurping our fight and what our movement was about, I need for all of us who are non-black or non-persons of color who feel offended by that, I want you to remember that feeling, because that's what black folks are saying we did to them, to the civil rights movement. Whenever gays or white gays in particular would say, well, this is the same thing as the civil rights movement. We sitting up here because we can't. And when black folks will sit down there and say, use a lie, because I can't change my skin color, you can stop all that gay shit. See, now, if we're upset about that, remember that feeling, because see, when we were told that we usurped the civil rights movement, this is what black folks was feeling. Okay? So I'm putting that out there so that we can have some context here. Because here we are now wanting to sit down here and say, wait a minute, honey, because you're sitting up here, you're trying to legalize crimes. Okay, and believe it or not, at one point in time, being gay was a crime too. So when black folks up there saying, no, you can't jump on this with us because this ain't the same thing. Okay, this ain't the same thing. Okay, they didn't sit down there and beat your ass because you didn't go to work or whatever. They didn't sit down there and put y'all light skin against dark skin. Okay, so when we have all that, this is in context so that we understand what we're dealing with. Because, see, like I said earlier, what becomes the fight? Because if we sit up there and throw out all these emotions and carry on and tell them that they can't. Straight folks did that to us. The church did that to us. So now what? Where are we in this quandary? Where are we? Boom. And honestly, honey, it's like, damn. I feel like I'm at the crossroads because it's like, fuck. I don't want to sit down here and say that y'all asses need to be fucking with somebody's kids. Because that's not what this... The fuck you want with these damn babies? The fuck do you want with these babies? They don't... And the whole thing of it is that, some of them, when they get caught up in their head, they see them for purity, they see them for love, unconditional love, and somebody who, or they have so much love for them. You hear this all the time. Oh, I just loved you so much. To where I wanted to be the one to take care of you. I wanted to be the one, I wanted to be your first this. I wanted to introduce you to this because I just love it. Where are we? Where does this go? How do we stop? How do we put this into perspective and into context so that we can sit down there and attack it contextually and from a perspective that makes sense? Okay? We have to really, really, really knuckle down and let's do this research on this. My black LGBT children, we need to make sure that we do not add this into this shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Tanya Savage, Merry Christmas to you, baby. Thank you for coming in. We have to make sure that this is something else that we don't get lumped up under. Gay bashing done started picking back up again, y'all. Trans bashing and things is picking up again, thanks to this administration. And at the same time, now that the pedophiles want to sit up there and say, oh, well, we're part of them, it gives this another log on the fire for those who don't like it, who can't grab it and don't want to grab it or whatever. The idea of what gay folks is, what we are, it gives them extra fuel to the fire. It gives them that extra burn of hatred. It gives them all of that, okay? And if it gives them all of that, then that means that, hell, what leg do we have to stand on? Huh? What leg do we have to stand on? See, my friend Hodge keeps saying, he says, listen, you can't sit down here, and he said, y'all need to be exclusive. He said, the gay community needs to be exclusive again. At one point in time, y'all were very exclusive, but now, y'all just open up the floodgates just like anybody up in this motherfucker. And I'm starting to see that. Because of this whole idea of celebrating diversity, we become our own joke. We have become our own joke. So the question is, what do we do? How do we stop this from happening? Because here's the real tea is, we can't stop the pedophile from living because that then would be ridiculous. That means we got to kill them all. Ain't that what they said about gay folks? Or just kill them. That's not what I'm saying. Because apparently, those who go be it, whatever that is, that's going to be them. But let them stand on their own merit. You not going to lump all that into the LGBT community because that's not what we about. Point motherfucking blank. We ain't that. And here, we ain't that. And there's no way that we're going to let you put that shit up under our umbrella. There's no way. There ain't no way. Come on, Aretha. Ain't no way that that's going to happen. And we need to make sure that it doesn't. Okay, if they want to sit down there and fight for their own, for their equity in society, let them fight for it on their own goddamn recognizance. We do not need to pick up that banner with them, for them. Don't need to encourage that, because we don't stand for it. That is something we do not stand for. So there's no, honey, no, no. So Judge Joe Brown, I need for you to come on to my radio show, okay, and let's discuss this in depth, because, see, this has a whole bunch of layers to this, because now that this is coming on board, you know, a lot of straight men and you know, the black community is getting on board with this, and I saw this. There's another discussion that I saw that was being held down here at Spelman at Clark, Atlanta, where the students were talking about, you know, black men are under attack. And the gay community is pushing this agenda to effeminize our men and this, that, and the other. I'm like, child, listen. There is no necessarily agenda to effeminize the men. Women, y'all have just sat up there and let a soft motherfucker in. See, women, y'all did that by saying you wanted a man who was in touch with his feelings, but then he done went so far to the left to where, hell, y'all did that. Now you're mad because, shit, he knows how to cry. He knows how to comb his hair. Hell, he get his hair pressed and curled. Because he a pimp, baller, shot caller. See, that's what you said you liked. Now you don't like it, right? Okay. So what is happening is we have a lot of the alpha males sitting up there putting this into their context, like the whole pedophile movement and stuff. The LGBT movement is sitting up there weakening the man. And my question, and I'm going to put this up, so you give this to all of the Hotep children, all of the Power to the People children, all of the Black Conscious children, all of that. I need for y'all to tell me exactly what is a strong black man. And the reason why I'm asking that question, I have my own definition, because I know, and y'all have heard me say this before too. I got to stand up and get this damn stew, honey. It's a bitch. Y'all have heard me say this before. As a kid of the 70s, okay, men in that particular era, it wasn't about they were masculine, but it wasn't all that machismo macho shit, okay, for the most part. Now, we had that because my father was a man's man and things, and when he was a young man and carrying on, he was very uber masculine and all that old bullshit, and that was shit that I didn't stand for. I did not care for his brand of masculinity, because it often meant violence, it often meant womanizing, it often meant a whole bunch of shit that I just didn't agree with. But when a man was together, he worked. He knew how to come home and take care of his family. He didn't leave it on the wife to do. He came in, you know, he helped with the homework. He helped to make sure that the kids was tucked into bed. You know, he took care of his woman, made sure she was down. You know, made sure that when they stepped out as a family, they was cool, they was fly. All the bills were paid. Okay, he didn't put that burden on her. He made sure he got out there and got his hustle on. When he went to work, but on the weekends, Daddy had a hustle. Whether he was going out there throwing some horseshoes, or if we cooked chicken dinners and stuff to take to the folks at the workplace who was working at afternoons and things. We used to sell dinners. Mom used to cook her ass off and things. So, you know, that's what we had. You know, a man was not scared. This whole y'all heard me say this before too, this metrosexual bullshit, that a man, you know, knew how to trim and get his beard and stuff together, got his fro and his lock, you know, when we was wearing fros at the time. You know, he had his hair together. He knew how to get the oil and dirt and stuff from up under his fingernails. He polished his shoes. He sat up there. He was about his character. It was about him understanding what he wanted to represent when he walked out that door. How his family looked and how his family was represented. Because it was about the name. You ain't gonna let this name be tarnished. You're gonna go out there, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this to be an upstanding citizen. It wasn't about, no. And if a man cried, because in the 70s they cried, it wasn't about, I'm going to do this in front of my woman. He went and took himself a minute. He said, baby, I'll be right back. He went to the bathroom, or he took himself and shielded himself to where he was able to cry and let it out so that he could start over again. It wasn't about a man ain't supposed to cry bullshit. My daddy taught me that, but then the first time I saw my daddy cry, honey, it was interesting because he was crying because he had not seen my grandmother in a minute. And he wanted my grandmother, he wanted his mama. And my mother called my grandmother, and yes, she did. She came over there to see about her baby, honey. I was what? I think I was 7 years old. Yeah. It was 1977. I'll never forget that day. Because I had never seen my daddy cry. Never. Okay, I had never seen him cry before. So that was like kryptonite to Superman as far as I was concerned. I was like, what? Something had to have been wrong for my daddy to cry. But I'm saying all that to say, back in that particular time, you know, a man was not going to allow certain things. Okay? If he had a woman who was sitting up there footing the bill and carrying on, then he had to make sure he earned his own. We got punks nowadays who sit up on the woman because she get a little food stamps and shit. And you sit down there and you let this motherfucker in your house playing video games all goddamn day and bark orders and shit because he can sling some good dick, but he ain't taking care of nothing. He got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of using all your shit, and you think it's cute because he got some good dick, but you ain't sitting up there helping him to have him take care of business, and you wonder why the men are soft. Okay, ain't got nothing to do with no gay shit, because there's a lot of gay men who you run to that take care of your damn business. See, it's your good Judy girlfriends had to sit down there and became more man than your man. And you think over there, you ain't getting no dick from him. So I said all that to say that we really have to look into this. And we have to denounce it. We have to let them stand on their own. If you're going to sit down here and say I'm a criminal, then you stand on your own with that bullshit. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it. And if it's got to be real, and if it's going to be, then that means we got to protect our children. We got to give our children, no means no. It becomes a whole new way of life again, to where we have to be ready for these hard conversations. You may not like it, but you got to be ready for it. And things of that nature. So I want this discussion to keep going. And y'all see I'm losing my voice. I got to go get some libation. And then I got to really get into this because I'm so congested. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to end this here. But I want you guys to share this with someone. Share it. Let's get this conversation going. I want this tea dished. I want y'all to get your crumpets and dunk all your crumpets in this tea. Because, baby, we got to sit down here and make sure that we are standing united to say, no, we're not going to let you define who we are. Black members of the LGBT community, we need to stand up and stand firm. We're not going to allow this to become another narrative for us. We got too much shit to deal with already. On that note, honey, if you love me, tell a friend. If you hate me, tell an enemy. But do know this: one way, shape, style, form, or fashion, everything that I'm doing will move forward. Merry Christmas to all of you, honey. Happy day one of Kwanzaa. I'll be coming back later with my Kwanzaa stuff to give you some to uplift you in things. And then we're going to go from there. So right now, I'm going to talk my voice out, child. So let me do all that, and I will talk to you guys a little bit later, okay? Ciao.